final was played. OL Reign taking on Gotham. OL Reign is who we were going for because of the Canadians on that team. Jordyn Huitema, by the way, getting the start. Quinn on that team as well. It goes the way of Gotham. 2-1 was the final. So they win their first ever championship. And it was a kind of a mix of everything. We knew that Ali Krieger, Megan Rapinoe, who are on separate teams. Krieger playing with Gotham, Rapinoe with OL Reign. They had, announced this was it. So we knew one of them was going home or ending everything. This illustrious career with a championship. It ended up being Ali Krieger. Sad news as well as Megan Rapinoe in her final game is subbed off in the 6th minute with an injury. What did you take away from the final? All the drama that was around it, all the excitement that was around it, and sadly, no Canadians this year crowned NWSL champion.
Yeah, no Canadians, unfortunately. It's hard to know where to start, to be honest. It was an entertaining final. Rapinoe goes off with what looks like an Achilles injury. It looked pretty bad in the early minutes. Then right at the end, you have the red card to the goalkeeper. It was a rare case, I think, of a good red cards because I think she actually probably prevented a goal by handling the ball outside her box. And by doing so, they only had to see out a couple of minutes with an outfield player in net. So it works out for them. I thought the story of the game overall was really that it was a duel between the two star players on the pitch for me, which was Midge Purce and Rose Lavelle. Those two were outstanding. Purce was the MVP, deservedly so. Set up both goals for Gotham, and Lavelle was consistently the most dangerous player for OL Reign. So Gotham have had a pretty remarkable turnaround from the last place team last season to sneaking into the playoffs and making some mid-season additions, including Esther Gonzalez, who scored the winning goal. And going on to win a title. So some achievement from them. And I like the way they play. They're really, really aggressive. They play an incredibly high defensive line. They didn't shy away from doing that in a final with a championship on the line. And it gave up some chances, including the goal. But it gave them control of the game. They were on top. And I thought worthy winners in the end.
All right. Yeah, we're seeing a lot. You know what? We're seeing a lot of growth in this league. We're seeing, obviously, the stands being packed, gentlemen, and the interest there. And I don't have to say it. It's the proof is in the pudding. But what did you want to add, Wheels, before I go to the next topic?
I was just taking exception to something that you said. As Canadians, were we obliged to cheer for OL Reign because there's two Canadians on the team? I don't care. I want the Canadians to play well. But Gotham's a story, not only a great name for a club. Gotham, man, being a Batman fan. But like Gotham last season, that's all he said. They won 4 games from 22. Yeah. They scored 16 goals in 22 games. They went worst to first. That was the story here. And shout out to Ali Krieger because a lot, Megan Rapinoe, based on her persona and how good she was, takes a lot of air out of the room. But Ali Krieger going on to win her first NWSL title in her last game. It's a great story. A reliable player. I remember Krieger standing out to me, especially when I was covering the 2015 Women's World Cup. Just reliable. I think she played every minute, but like 5 or 10 in that tournament. She was excellent. One of those underappreciated U.S. women's national team players, and she gets to go on a high as well. So I was just taking exception to that, Andy. This whole idea that I need to support a team because it has a couple Canadians on it. Come on.
Can I do
I'm not that guy. Not that guy.
Where do I have? I have a Canadian flag somewhere here. Doesn't matter.
Can I just talk?
Whatever.
What is this? Oh man!
I was trying to find a Canadian
support the national team, support the Canadian players. I don't care what club they play. I don't have to support that club. Am I wrong, guys?
But
you're not wrong.
No.
Can I just mention something quickly? 20 seconds, just about the game and a player that I now love after 2 assists. Like Ollie said it, but Margaret Melinda Williams Purce, which is Midge Purce, is sensational. Yeah. Full name, I had to.
That's respect.
Incredible. The first goal, by the way, it looks like football. Like the way she sets it up in the assist for Lynn Williams, like pushes by one, takes a big touch, and then just gets like wiggles around another one. Phenomenal. I'm a huge fan. Followed on Instagram. I said, I want the content. Like she's the real deal.
Listen, it goes without saying, I love the good story. Both teams had good stories. I just threw in a little bit that I love the fact that, when Canadians win, because that was also the story last year with Portland and talk of. It was Christine St. Clair, and it was Rian Wilkinson and Karina LeBlanc. So you had like manager, coach, and players. And it was just really great. That's all I'm saying.
If you're neutral, then it's a reasonable way to pick a team, right? You just cheer
That's what I think. That's what I think. How about we just all cheer for the growth of soccer, and we all cheer for the growth of the women's game, because the NWSL has gone and signed this landmark deal. This is kind of what I was getting at earlier about, this isn't just lip service, ladies and gentlemen, about you should support women's sports. It is clearly, the numbers are there, that they have now signed a 4-year, $240 million broadcast deal. It'll be between Amazon, ESPN, CBS, and Scripps. So you're going to have national TV. It'll be aired as well as on streaming. What?
Scripps, isn't that the spelling bee people? Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Well, listen,
I don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
I don't know what it is either. We're going to have to look it up, because there are so many different ways that things can be viewed these days. But it's going to be linear. It's going to be streaming. It's a combination. And it's such an increase. Just to give you some perspective, what they made before off a TV deal was $1.5 million. This is now going to pay them $60 million per year. So, when you look at this, and again, I'm going to bring it Canadian because this is wonderful for the NWSL. But Ollie, right away, I start going, okay, if you're Project 8, or if you're anyone that wants to see this domestic league in Canada, do you look at that and go, this is good? See, like this can happen.
Yes and no. Like, I think the US and Canada are just so different that you can't make the direct comparison. But I think more broadly, just looking at women's football all over the world, I think a lot of leagues, women's professional leagues, are battling for the opportunity that I think the NWSL, by the looks of the numbers of this deal, has just been given, which is like real investment over kind of the medium term, and the ability to go out and like show us that this product has a fan base, right? It has an audience. And I think they're going to get the opportunity to do that in a way, again, with money that is meaningful in terms of the investment that's coming in from these 4 broadcasters. So there are pros and cons with every deal. Obviously, being across 4 different networks maybe isn't the perfect thing for fans, but the numbers are good. And I think when you actually look at it and drill down into the audience, like the NWSL, when in terms of the games that are nationally broadcast on, whether it's CBS, Fox, ABC, whatever, they do very similar numbers to MLS. And so it makes sense that the NWSL can justify this kind of deal, which I think if you break it down on kind of a per game basis, it's almost exactly the same amount of money as MLS is getting in its Apple TV deal. MLS obviously just has more games and therefore a bigger overall deal. So it's an important one, I think, for just, again, the ability for these women's professional leagues to really get the opportunity to put money into their TV products and to show people then that if you do that, and if you give us a chance and give us some time and investment, we will get people watching. And I think the NWSL is starting to make that case.
Yeah. What was your reaction when you saw that deal, Wheels?
Scripps, it is the spelling bee people. They own 62 stations in 43 U.S. markets, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Right. Interesting.
You got to the bottom of it.
This is great news. We hope that more money filters their way down to the players, so they rely less upon their national teams in order to boost their earnings. So hopefully some of this money makes it to the players that go in and provide so much entertainment on a week-to-week basis. What does this mean for Canada? I don't know. I went on a bit of a rant on Friday's show about the status of the Canadian sports broadcasting industry. I hope that there are companies, more companies that are willing to pay money for soccer in this country. It's been a real challenge in order to find that kind of investment. And let's hope that this is kind of a telltale sign of the way that things are moving. But our industry up here in this country is so different from the United States, where much more people are able to make a living covering and broadcasting the game of soccer. Up here, it's been a bit of a grind for all the aforementioned reasons that I provided on Friday.
Yeah. And, I watched that and I thought you nailed a lot of great points. And, as much as we are so similar to the United States culturally, I think sometimes we fool ourselves into believing that everything is like for like, but still our population is drastically less. Our corporate dollars are drastically less. And yes, our broadcasting landscape is not as vast. I mean, we literally have 2 networks for the entire country when you think about it. And then other little networks that are trying to survive, right? But it's the 2 who kind of dictate things. And another thing that's worth noting, because, you mentioned this earlier when we were just talking about the FIFA U17 and investment in what sport we want to put our money behind. This country, Canada, still loves hockey. Like it'll be number 1. for however long we can see. And it's worth noting that in 2026, those national hockey rights are also up. And Project 8 would love to launch in 2025. So if you're these networks, you bet you're looking at that, because if you're going to save your money for something, they might be talking about, like, they have to make those types of decisions. Are we going to go in and try to bid for those NHL rights that are going to become available in 2026? The PWHL is going to launch in the new year. They still have yet to announce who their rights holders are, right? Like, to your point, there's a lot of stuff that's available. Where are you going to invest? Where are you going to put that money? So, Jordyn, this is fantastic news for the NWSL. But my original question was, what does that mean for Canada? And I feel like we're all kind of in agreement there, where it's good, but maybe not as good as we would like it to be.
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, it's a phenomenal thing, but I think just being the realist in me is looking at the situation as well. A new league, everything takes time, right? It's not something where you can get big deals from the jump. It'd be nice, right? But it's also building things up slowly and getting the right people to back them. And you see how long the NWSL is, and this is obviously the biggest broadcasting deal, but look how many years and decades that takes to get things going. So it's building things up slowly. You see it with the CPL, you see it with Project 8, is really just getting the right clubs, the right people behind it, and taking those moments when they come.
Yeah, you're right. NWSL, just over a decade now.